facility, a grower, a distributor, the owner of a delivery business already permitted in the city, a director of a potential pot collective, a Los Angeles dispensary owner, a person who manufactures high THC chocolate bars, and many others. Are you seeing a pattern? There also were people who shared stories of using marijuana for medical purposes, and my heart really does go out to them. But let's keep in mind that they already have access. They can get on the phone and have it delivered to their home by a permitted delivery company. I urge the City Council to take a serious look at the unintended consequences of an expanded pot landscape. These include increases in crimes such as burglary, theft, sexual assault, and drugged driving. The increase in children and teens who end up in the hospital largely due to overconsumption of edibles and concentrates. The documented increases in transient populations where marijuana is easily obtainable. Just take a look at Colorado. And the difficulty in actually collecting the taxes that have so many people turn a blind eye to the above problems. Let's remember it's a cash business and it's against federal law. And there aren't nearly enough forensic auditors to find all of the money, even if you had a big enough budget to pay them. So please take an unbiased look at the whole picture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Odegard.
Good evening, honorable council members. My name is Michael Odegard. I'm son of Mona Mertens, owner of Vine Street Apartments, a native Hawaiian-owned and operated affordable housing apartment community very close by here in coastal Oceanside. I wanted to share some good news that we're 10 days counting from going green. We will be the first apartment community in Oceanside to go fully solar. And we will be saving the atmosphere 45 tons of added carbon dioxide every year. So we just wanted to notify you on this is actually almost the year anniversary since I last spoke to you. Last time I spoke to you, we were reviewing a project that unfortunately was approved adjacent to our property that eliminates the only recreational land use in our neighborhood. There is no other park within walking distance over of half a mile from our area. Nevertheless, we went ahead and showed you what our vision. By the way, I should also say I'm also the chairman of the Canyon Park Neighborhood Association. That's a name that we've changed from Vine Street Neighborhood Association to reflect our vision. Nevertheless, I wanted to give you an update of what happened after that event. The developer of the project that was approved approached us afterward, and he actually said that he thought that we had a better idea of doing a smart growth project that preserved a park for our neighborhood. And so he approached me, and we got together with some paper, and we sketched out an alternative that saved 4-acre park and then condensed the approved 58 units on the 2-acre lower pad of the parcel. And we presented this to the Oceanside Women's Club, and they loved the idea, and included in this would be the formalization of a lot of activities that happened informally by our kids and people in the community, including a community garden, a small gazebo, a staging area for hikes into the Arroyo, a tennis club, a tot lot with picnic area, and a large play field, which is very, very important to our neighborhood. We made sure that we designed the park sensitively to work with a luxury grade condo project. And we made sure also that this wouldn't block any views of any of the residents that lived on the adjacent hill. And it turned out that the developer said that if I got the support of the neighbors around, that he would move forward with a design development. And we got actually 95% support, including the promise to pay for the maintenance of the park. However, unfortunately, last December, he pulled the plug on the project. Since my time is over now, I'll pick it up at next council meeting. Thank you much for your time.
Thank you.
Our next speakers are Peggy Walker and Michelle McKechnie.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. My name is Peggy Walker, and I am here.
Peggy, would you pull the microphone down? We're recording the meeting, or it's being broadcast and recorded. Yeah.
Is that better?
That is better. Thank you.
Thank you. I am here too because I noticed that the Marijuana Ad Hoc Committee seems heavily weighted towards the pot industry, and I wanted to express an opposition opinion. I would urge a ban on all commercial pot activities. Since deliveries are available, the Medipop patient population is certainly served. I've worked in tobacco use prevention education for 20 years. It took us 50 years to educate the public on the harms of tobacco. My recurrent nightmare is that it's going to take 50 more years to educate the public on the harmfulness of pot. Expert public policymakers refer to pot as a vice industry, like tobacco, alcohol, and gambling. And like these industries, pot presents an intractable problem, a direct conflict of interest between those trying to prevent initiation, dependency, and addiction, those in the public health arena like myself, and a profit-based industry that relies on finding heavy users and creating as many new ones as possible, including youth. The difference between pot and tobacco is that tobacco, for example, doesn't result in the user becoming paranoid, disoriented, agitated, or cause them to suffer hallucinations, psychotic breaks. It doesn't result in dangerous behaviors, IQ loss, or the loss of coordination resulting in DUIs. Toddlers are not admitted to ERs from ingesting tobacco edibles, nor do they drown in pools because their parents were too stoned to watch them. I urge you, please, please, please do the research. Hundreds of articles cross my desk every month. This industry targets the populations that public officials should be working to protect, and not one professional medical organization endorses pot in smoked or edible form. Unfortunately, the pot industry is heavily funded and can afford to back and endorse political candidates, hire highly paid lobbyists and lawyers, and fund expensive ballot initiatives to push their addictive products, things that the opposition, like myself, and the general public cannot afford to do. Yet, for all their strategies, they cannot counteract the science-based facts that are emerging. The research that tells us that pot has the toxins, the carcinogens, the pesticides, the fungus, and the bacteria that portend great harm. Thank you for giving your serious consideration to this.
Thank you.
Hello, council members, Deputy Mayor. My name is Michelle McKechnie. I am the co-operator of 420 Central Delivery, Oceanside. I am the co-operator of the first licensed delivery here in Oceanside, and I'm going to ask you to do the opposite of what the last two speakers have asked, and I'm going to ask you to adopt the resolutions that the Medical Marijuana Ad Hoc Committee are going to be presenting to you in the next month. There are a number of reasons. Obviously, many of them are personal because I am in the industry, ladies and gentlemen, but also because I've heard thousands of stories of people who have found relief and have only found relief through this medicine. They've exhausted every form of medicine their doctor has prescribed for them with all the side effects that come along with it. And yet they find cannabis helps them. But that's not the real reason why you should be focused or adopt this resolution. The real reason is because the voters have voted that they want medical cannabis and they want recreational cannabis. Whether you agree with it personally or not is not the issue. Our issue is to be able to do it in a safe and regulated manner. Let's turn the spotlight on it. Why hide from the issue? Why allow the black market? Why allow criminals to control this industry? We have the only reason why the industry leaders were here is because we do have a loud voice to be heard. We do believe so strongly in what this can do for our city, what it can do for the people of Oceanside, what it can do for our veterans. And more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we all need to do it together. We need to build bridges. We need to make sure that our farmers have an opportunity to diversify so that they can have a viability in this market. We need to give our producers who have been producing this industry an opportunity to manufacture here so that they can become proud of what they've done and make Oceanside proud of the products that they produce. And more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, as been mentioned, yes, you do have a licensed delivery in Oceanside, but for any patient, they know that there's a huge difference between deliveries and dispensaries. Deliveries, ladies and gentlemen, deliver something that you've already decided you need. Dispensaries educate. It's not that you can't do it during deliveries, you just don't have time, ladies and gentlemen. And more importantly, the support that you get when you go into a dispensary is so invaluable, especially for a parent who's trying to figure out what cannabis oil they should give to their child because they're so fearful of what the side effects might be, and they have 10 other parents that can tell them exactly what they've tried and what works for them. Ladies and gentlemen, it's so important that we provide the support for them, and not only that, we provide the support for your people of Oceanside, for the citizens. It's not going to be an industry that's going to be on every corner, especially not if you adopt the resolutions. If you wait for the initiative to come across the ballot, which it will next November, you're not going to have a say in it. And there could be dispensaries in every single part of your city, and there could be manufacturers in every part of the city. What we need to do is get smart about it, regulate it, put the spotlight on it, and let's work together to make this a safe, regulated industry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next two speakers are Sheila Cada and Tom DeMoy.
Here we go.
Sheila Cada, 1092 Greenway Road, Oceanside. I want to talk about SOARS, the open spaces thing. There's something that hasn't been brought up, and that's this. Morrill Hills should not be built on. It shouldn't be overbuilt on us because it is one of the 7 places in the world you can grow anything. It is on the farmer's map of the world. And as elected officials, I think you should be cognitive of something like this and work very hard to save something like this, because there's only 7 places in the world that are like Morrill Hills, and Morrill Hills is one of them. It's imperative that we work to save something like that and not put asphalt and cement and 900 homes on something like that. We need to save it and protect it. That's all I got to say. Bye.
Thank you. Carry on.
Is Tom DeMoy still here? No. Okay, then we'll move to our final speaker, Francis Kozierski.
Come on down.
Hello, Deputy Mayor Charles Lowry and members of the City Council. October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and as you probably heard on the news, Julia Dreyfus, who's a co-star of the Jerry Seinfeld series, has now been diagnosed with breast cancer, and she brought up the fact that she's one of 8 women in America that has come down with breast cancer. So I'm asking for your prayers for Julia Dreyfus of the Seinfeld series. If you know of anybody in your neighborhood here in Oceanside that has battled with breast cancer and is a breast cancer survivor, or unfortunately has lost their life through breast cancer, I'm asking the City Council, as individuals, not as a council, to remember them this Friday on Shabbat, which is typically the Sabbath day at 6:30, and light a candle in their memory. Anyway, this breast cancer issue really comes close to home. I got the news that someone very dear to my household came down with breast cancer. Unfortunately, she has passed away May 31st of 2013. She was my wife, Amparo Kozierski, who was an Oceanside resident since 1991. Amparo lived a healthy lifestyle. She was always into food and nutrition. In fact, I figured she was going to outlive all of us. But I got the news on Flag Day, June 14th, that she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she was admitted to the John Moore Cancer Clinic in UCSD La Jolla, had a lumpectomy, and then chose to go with alternative therapies. She would not take radiation or chemotherapy because she said it was like putting poison in her body. But anyway, God allowed her to live 4 more years after her diagnosis and after her lumpectomy using alternative medicine. But she passed away May 31 of 2013. So anyway, this Friday, in memory of Amparo, at 6:30, if you'd like to light a candle. She was an Oceanside resident since 1991. But if you know of anybody that has passed away through breast cancer, or even someone that's battling breast cancer now as I speak, who's an Oceanside resident, remember, October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I ask you to remember those people by lighting a candle in their memory. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Lowry, there's no more items on the agenda. One request, personally, as we adjourn the meeting, can we have a moment of silence for the victims in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, any council member comments? Personal? Public? Nothing? Nothing. Okay, so on Saturday, October 7th, that's coming right up, 1 p.m. in the Oceanside Downtown Library Community Rooms. Jarabe Mexicano is presenting a live world music concert. It's totally free. The parking's free. You walk on in. It's free to get in. Excellent professional musicians, and that is starting at 1 o'clock. And my experience has been that these concerts supported by the library have plenty of seats, and you need to get there at 1 because they start about 2 minutes after 1. So anyway, that is this Saturday, October 7th at 1 p.m., and I turn it over to you.
Yes, if we could all just stand for a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much.
That concludes the meeting. Our next meeting is Wednesday, October 18th, 3:30 p.m., 5 o'clock for you. Thank you for attending.